Hey guys, it's LSuperSonicQ here with a video on the beta elements of video game clay figure models X. So, this video does have spoilers in it, so if you haven't seen the actual clay video, I recommend you watch that before you watch this. And also, it's not going to be too terribly long, there isn't a whole lot to show, but there is some little trivial aspects that I would like to go over. So hopefully you guys will be entertained by it, and let's start. The first beta element I'm going to talk about is Mario. So this is the Mario 64 model, and this was actually the clay model in its pre-painted stage. I said that I kind of sculpted it out of crap colors, and this is what it looked like. This was actually when it was in the pan before I put it into the actual oven to bake. And behind it is the image that I was using to sculpt from and paint from, which was, again, the in-game model of Mario from Super Mario 64. Also, this is the exact image of Mario that I blacked out for my second vlog when I was teasing the model before he was actually revealed. Also, as a more trivial fact, this Mario was started around the same time as Luigi in October of 2013 and finished around December of 2013. Next, I want to talk about Yoshi because there was a whole story when sculpting Yoshi that I had to cut from the original video because it was too long. Yoshi was one of the hardest models to sculpt for this video because of all the unforeseen problems that arose. When I was originally sculpting him, I had him in a standing upright pose with his arms out, and it looked pretty good. So I decided to put him into the oven without realizing that I should have disassembled his head and his arms because this would have prevented him from falling over. He did fall over, and when he came out of the oven, he was kind of in a weird sitting down position. So being in that position, I really didn't think of any ways I could really fix it because the clay was already hard. So I kind of went about painting it, and because the pose was kind of off, it kind of offset my real thought process and what color I should exactly paint him. So I kind of just went with red for some reason. And I was almost completely done with painting him red, and then something happened and I said, this just doesn't look right. With a color that I really just went off of on instinct and a pose that I really hate, I decided that I had to do something about it. So there actually aren't any pictures of Yoshi in this state because I just hated it so much that what I did was kind of take him from his slouched over body, and instead of him kind of sitting down, I stood him up on his feet. Then I took his head off, which again was facing the ground, and now I kind of put it on top of his body, which looked rather nice coincidentally because it kind of looked like, he was standing upright. So I did that, and then took the arms off from the side that they were kind of on, like how they were sticking out, and I made them flat against his body. After a little bit of patchwork here and there, I put it into the oven, and when he came out, he was a standing upright Yoshi. However, that wasn't it, because I figure if I change his pose, I should change, his color too. And seeing as red was just kind of an impulse color, I thought it was really bright, the red, and the blue of the shoes really didn't go with it. I wanted something a little more pleasant to the eyes, as well as a bit more Yoshi story feeling. So that's why I decided to go with black, because not only did it give me a more Yoshi story feeling and a more contentment with the model, but also black was the only color that I could paint over the vibrant red without having to completely resculpt the model. And again, to go along the lines of a trivial matter, what I actually had to do, because the shoes were blue and I had to paint white over the blue, I would have had to use way much more paint and time than I had, or that I wanted to use. So what I had to do, rather than trying to coat those blue shoes like 5 times, if not more, I just resculpted new shoes and painted those white, and these are the ones that were left unused that I actually had to kind of take off of his legs. Finally, the last real solid bit of beta content is this stand, which was originally going to be used for Luigi. When I was done sculpting Luigi, I knew that he was going to need a stand, and I thought that it would be a lot more kind of presentational to make a stand for him. So I kind of thought about the symbols and stuff of Luigi's Mansion. I thought of a boo, but I didn't want to go with a straight up boo because I thought, that would be like Luigi sitting on a boo, and that wouldn't really make sense. So I decided to kind of do this variant where, kind of a nice black boo, with yellow highlights for the eyes and the mouth. However, after that came out of the oven, I kind of put Luigi on the stand just to see how it would look. I realized that it kind of took away from the model, just in the sense that it didn't really add to the appearance like I wanted it to. So I kind of ended up scrapping it and went along with the small game box idea, which is a lot better because it adds more kind of character to the entire clay model, as well as I feel like putting a bit more emphasis on Luigi and making him a little bit taller too, because the box is, a lot thicker than that really thin boost stand was. So with that said, those are kind of all the real solid beta elements of Video Game Clay Figure Models X. There were a couple other production pictures that I thought I may have taken, however I can't really find them, so maybe I didn't actually take them. And other than that, there were just some cut lines of dialogue where I went in depth a little bit more about like my history of a certain game, but that's not really too important compared to the rest of the clay. So that does it for the production of Video Game Clay Figure Models X and the pictures that I had to show for it. Before this video ends though, I do want to talk briefly about my video schedule. Seeing as March's month of video game clay is now over in its entirety, and I have made mention before of what's to come in April, I do kind of want to talk a little bit about that. Generally speaking, I think April is kind of going to be a quiet month in terms of videos, not only so I can kind of cool down from all the intensity that was of March, but also kind of in preparation for May. For the most part, I think I'm going to stick to my original plan and not air a whole lot of content in April, except for the end, which at this point it's still up in the air because April is still a long month. We're not that far into it yet. So those videos consist of a chalk drawing, a CD collection, and a live stream. The chalk drawing I'm planning on probably doing, late April. I should be able to get maybe one done, and I would really like to start the season as soon as possible, so I'm going to still shoot for that. Second is the CD collection, which, regardless about which CDs I get when, I'm not sure if I'm actually going to do it because I don't know how avidly I can really talk about my CDs and stuff, so I would not plan on that one as much right now. And then finally the live stream, which isn't really a video but rather a one-time event. I'm still planning on doing that late April, so I'll keep you guys up to date on that. And for the most part, that kind of does it for April, and May is too far away to kind of plan for videos and stuff. I haven't really given much thought as to what's really going to kind of hit my channel next. However, in June, remember that I will have my kind of drawings that I did over this past school year that I always show at the end of every school year, so you have that to definitely look forward to because it's set in stone. But as for everything else, it's kind of up in the air right now. So with that said, I think I'm going to end this video. Thank you for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed March's month of video game clay. I hope you enjoy what I have coming to my channel in the coming weeks. I'm LSuperSonicQ, and until the next video, thank you for the support. Finn.